So who does the parking lot posting enforcement?
County would do that.
So I see the city doing half of it most of the time. He'll come in with that big front loader, he'll clean like this half over, and then the county does that half, because he's already done, well, those over here plus theirs. So I see him in that big front loader all
Yeah.
the time cleaning that.
Pushing it, yeah.
That's the only reason I asked you that. I knew it's a county law, but.
Yeah, maybe
City
there's
does it a lot.
some historic,
But we still
Partnership.
snow up into there and that big one does.
yeah, maybe wide.
City. But I had to do it anyway because they still
Alright.
done it.
I'm going to call the Tipton Common Council meeting to order
Closed again.
and begin with the Pledge of Allegiance.
I haven't had time, 20 hours a day in the pro. I pledge
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. First item on our agenda are the minutes from the last meeting.
I move to approve the minutes as written for January 12th.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve the minutes as submitted. All those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any amendments to the agenda this evening? Hearing none. This is the second meeting of the month. We'll begin with Board of Works and Safety.
We met today with fire and police. We were gonna have interviews for 2 firefighters, but that got postponed until next week. We're gonna interview 2 firefighters for 2 vacancies next week, hopefully to get moving and get them submitted to perf. The 2 we're interviewing are already firefighter certified, so they could probably ramp up with little to no training, because we've had 2, Seth, I can't ever pronounce his last name. Hogeson resigned and went to Carmel, and then Lucas Jones just submitted his letter of resignation. He's going to Fortville. So we have to fill those 2 roles, and we still have 1 firefighter out with his injury. He should be coming back in a few, 2 months or so. Good turnout for applications. So we had 12 applications, and of those 12, we're going to interview 2. Other stuff from the fire department, we've seen an increase in structure fires. We've seen a little bit of an increase in calls for service other than medical. Chief Bender let us know that we're kind of expanding some of the territory we're providing assistance with, and that led into discussions about fire districts, fire territories. So that may be something that gets kicked around in this year or next, especially with some of the changes at the state with township government and things like that, and lit tax for fire and public safety. Bryce Delph is coming off his probationary period for firefighter EMT. The building is progressing, it seems like, pretty nicely. Keegan will have more info because they have a meeting today than I do. For police, calls were, total call volume was slightly up compared to previous years, but we've initiated a little more traffic stops than we have in the past. The 2 new hires are at the academy. They're in week 4, doing really well. They should be finished with the academy in April and back at the PD in full time. 2 performance recognitions, Trice Huffman for arrests and Dalton Ludvigson for traffic stops. That's no surprise. Dalton, he had almost a third of our traffic stops last year or this year. So we did have a car that was wrecked. We're trying to go through the process with insurance to get a new, hopefully, Dodge Durango. And all the new cars through the enterprise program are at the outfitters and should be done mid-February. That's good enough for public safety.
Very good. Golf Advisory has not met. Partnership Initiatives not met yet. And Solid Waste District Board, we did meet on Monday of this week, conducted normal business with the district. One key update from the city operation perspective is yard waste, green waste. So we're continuing to work toward a solution with yard waste. We're trying to get out of the practice of depositing all that debris on site as solid waste, just because A, it's unsightly, B, it does create natural habitat for the very things we try to keep out of our homes and offices, rodents and such. But then also, as we've learned through IDEM, there's actually a permit that's required when you're composting like this on a duration of time. So trying to be a little more proactive and finding a different solution for that. So we had a little bit of discussion about that. Moving street, alley, and sidewalk has not met. Planning Commission did not meet in January. Utility Board.
Utility Board met last Monday in these chambers. Very short meeting. Jim said everything was going well with any of the few projects they've got going on, and we pretty much ended up the meeting that way.
Very good. Youth Council was scheduled to reconvene for this semester on Monday. As you might imagine, that did not happen due to weather. So we're actually scheduling a kickoff for that to be rescheduled, but looking forward, this spring semester will be the completion or execution of the projects they had presented last semester. So we're expecting a great deal of excitement as they continue that work. That wraps up committee reports.
We skipped amending the agenda. Or I missed it. Totally possible. I missed it.
Okay.
I'd like to amend the agenda to insert council appointments under new business.
There's a motion to amend the agenda to add council appointments. Is there a second?
Second.
And a second. All those in favor of amending the agenda signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Agenda item added.
You missed it because he
I
waited
tried
for a
to.
little bit.
Thinking about something else.
Daydreaming, night dreaming. With that, we'll move to new business. First item, Humane Society. You will find in your packets a report from the Humane Society. They were unable to join us this evening, mainly because of the reschedule. So they've opted to provide this in our packet. I would encourage you all to read the information based on their last year's presentation. We really found this information to be quite helpful and quite comprehensive. So if there are any questions, they did solicit us to reach out to them with those questions. But then with that, we'll move on to council appointments.
So we have the one to the RDC, City RDC. Thanks to the hard work of Council District 2 Rep Joe Vandover, we found somebody. So I would nominate Damian Mendenhall to be the council's appointment to the RDC.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to appoint Damian Mendenhall to the City RDC. Although,
Who made the second? I'm sorry.
I did.
Rich.
Yeah.
Sorry.
all those in favor of the appointment signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Appointment made.
And I believe we have some planning commission appointments.
Yeah, so with the changes, the composition from the council's perspective changes for the planning commission. So the statutory requirements are that the council gets 3 appointments. They need to be an elected, an appointed, or a staff member, city operations or utilities. And so with that, at least from the council perspective, it would be my recommendation that we would continue Rich's service on the planning commission as a good connection to the city council. And then the other two that we have confirmed their interests is Dylan Dietrich from Public Works or Municipal Services and Scott Reeser of the Utilities. So I would recommend those to the council.
Do you
For
need those
appointment.
individually, or can we make them all at once?
I think you could put it all in the same
I'll
motion.
make a
We'll send all their letters separately though.
to appoint Rich Vaughtaw, Scott Reeser, and Dylan Dietrich to the new city planning commission as appointments from the city council.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to appoint Rich Vaughtaw, Dylan Dietrich, and Scott Reeser to the City Planning Commission. All those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The other detail I would note is that Dylan currently serves on the city's park board. In that conversation, he will step down from his appointment on park board to allow another citizen within the city to take an opportunity to serve on that.
Those are your appointments, right?
Correct. So my hope is to have that update at our next meeting for that appointment. No items under old business. Mayor's report, a few things to report on as Council President Nathan Crane mentioned on public safety building. Windows on the fire department side have been completed. Vast improvement compared to the previous windows. And so they're going to wrap up the police department side as the weather warms up. As you can imagine, installing windows now is not ideal. The front of the police department is scheduled to begin work here in the next week. Again, some of that is weather dependent. So with these frigid temps, it could get pushed a couple days, but that'll be a pretty significant improvement visually to the building since that has been removed. Part of this project also does include, as we align the work on East Street, the paving project that's continuing on East Jackson Independence. Part of that plan was to mill and resurface the parking lot, parking areas of the facility. So just keep an eye on that. That'll be a visual improvement as well, as that asphalt has degraded quite significantly over the years. And then just a detail has been completed that I felt like made a really drastic visual improvement were the windows above the fire department's apparatus bays. Of course, we all knew that those windows needed replaced, fixed, but to see them fixed has really made a visual improvement to that building. So again, PD and FD continue to be complimentary of the team that's working on the building. The communication has been excellent to date. So I want to give kudos to Hearn Construction on that facilitation. I would like to offer some kudos to the departments of the city of Tipton over the last couple of days with this snowstorm. Not only the street department, who worked 2 16-hour shifts to get roads cleaned up, largely in preparation for the Monday commute. But then also the cleanup that occurred today, seeing both the city municipal services and the utility working jointly to get those big snow piles remediated. It's going to take us some time, of course, but again, just to see that cooperation lends to the strength of a community like Tipton. And then fire department has been incredibly busy over the last 10 days, a lot of mutual aid out to some of the townships, but they're working in the severe conditions as well. And then police department, I personally saw a lot of police patrol occurring over the weekend with the heavy snowfall. So to see their presence out, I thought was a great visualization for the community. And then talking with an officer today, that he was helping people get their cars unstuck even today. So they're out there in the conditions helping our citizens. So again, kudos to them as well. And then the last thing for my report, SCA1, the impacts of the tax structure, state of Indiana. This has been a really heavy topic over the last 30 days. And I think we see something in our packet today that talks about some of those impacts. This is a short session for the state legislature. There's some hope that we can get adjustments to some of this law that's been passed last year. But at present, I'm just, I guess, notify the rest of the council. I've had a couple conversations, or at least with Mr. Van Bibber about this in our council meeting. The city of Tipton, ranking the cities across the state of Indiana who have populations greater than 3,500, sorted by most impacted from the new lit structure, local income tax, worst to best, Tipton ranks 14th on that list. So in severity of the impacts, we are one of the worst impacted in the state of Indiana on this new lit structure. So I've been working very aggressively with AIM, who was our association representing our needs at the state legislature. I've actually submitted an op-ed in support of some legislation that's been drafted, trying to protect as best we can the fiscal future of the city. And this is, we're looking at it, if it all goes into plan and phased in according to plan, then we'll experience an 18% revenue adjustment, which will amount to $1.9 million to the city of Tipton. That is more than our police department and parks department put together. So the significance of that is quite large. While that is doom and gloom, we are working very aggressively at the State House, trying to appeal to the nature that one size fits all approach to this doesn't make sense. And I think we're finding some legislators at the State House receptive to that. With that, we'll move to our resolutions and ordinances. First is Resolution 2026-02, resolution to transfer from Edit Fund to Safe Streets and Roads for All, SS4A Fund, and this is for grant match. So for, just for some context, because Councilmember Richards had asked prior to the meeting, but this is for a grant match. And because this is a federal grant, it's easier on our side and likely a requirement that we create a separate fund. So what we're doing is transferring out of the edit grant match line item to this newly created line item, but its purposes will be the same for a grant match. So largely just a formality to get the funds in the right place.
I move we approve resolution 2026-02.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve resolution 2026-02. All those in favor of the motion signify by stating aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Next item is resolution 2026-03, a resolution transferring certain real property to the City of Tipton Redevelopment Commission. This is the Northgate Industrial Park. Last meeting, we accepted through resolution this property or the remaining property interest from the county. This one concludes this process by transferring it to the RDC so we can continue the work of securing a prospect on that property.
I move to approve resolution 2026-03.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve resolution 2026-03. All those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. We are now to claims.
I move we approve for payment claims 181432 through 181533 in the amount of $992,882.31.
Second.
We have a motion and a second approving claims this evening. Any questions?
I got a couple. The police comp, police vacation, and the police comp hours, those are carryovers from 25? Supposed to be.
Yes.
Yes.
And if I remember, Nate, you're working on that, right? So it doesn't happen in 26?
Oh,
In fact, I had a good comment. Chief Stout called me today right after Board of Works, and he said, canines by state statute are required to get so many comp hours, but he's not sure if, I think they get like 6 per pay period, or there's a lot of ways they can get these comp hours. And he was asking us to look into, could we front load them like we do the vacation days, so that the canine officers can better use them throughout the year instead of not using them and then getting paid out for them. He wanted to encourage them to start using their time sooner, so I told him I would look into that. That being said, to Joe's point, Chief Stout's already thinking about, and we probably should remind him, the Board of Works, that we just can't afford to do that again. We should be fully staffed by April too, with the 2 back in the academy. So I think it's top of mind for him as well.
The other thing I had on page 4, is it a common practice that the city pays the union dues of the fire and police department firefighters?
Yeah, we collect it out of their paycheck.
Okay.
We collect their union dues and then we pay the union.
And what's voluntary life insurance?
We have, there's a voluntary life insurance that if an employee, a full-time employee would like extra life insurance, they can purchase it through Sun Life.
So it's
So it's taken out of their paycheck.
reimbursed those.
Yeah.
Group life. Do we contribute any to help offset the cost for the group life insurance?
We already have 2
Okay.
life insurance policies for the city. One of them is $15,000 and it reduces with age. And the other one is a one-time salary life insurance policy.
And the CCD expenditure on 7, is that upgrade or new security cameras?
It's upgrading the security cameras that we currently have.
Okay, that's all I got.
very good. We have a motion and a second to approve claims this evening. All those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions?
No.
All approved.
Did you, yes?
No,
No,
I'm not in
okay,
this.
so here, let me make sure I have that. Okay, so I have Rick, and then Rich, and then everyone, right?
We're gonna have petitions, comments, and memorials.
Bob's not missing anything, go ahead.
Oh, come on, Bob.
If you, yeah, since we begged.
I'm not sure it's an invitation, but go ahead.
I assume everything with getting Northgate and everything back from the county, that all went through.
Right.
That's what you were gonna do that last meeting.
Yep.
And I assume that also opens it up to make it easier to do something out there. Can you tell us about anything or projects that might be going on?
Certainly protecting confidentiality of some conversations, but I would just make a note that RDCs have become the modern vehicle to getting economic development accomplished across the state of Indiana, at least. So we feel confident it's at least in the right vehicle to have these conversations. And our pipeline for economic development prospects has, in the last 30 to 45 days, has gotten much fuller. So now we're at a point trying to figure out not only how do we best manage this 43 acres, but then what's the next strategies for continuing that success. So I think we're in a really strong position right now, and I think pretty encouraged with what that pipeline looks like and the people we're having conversations with. I hope that answers sort of, but without divulging confidentiality. And good.
Yeah, we have updates on the deadline. I knew we said a couple of weeks, so.
Yeah, so the plan, my hope was that we could get the guaranteed maximum price presented to the council for this meeting. We're working through some of the paperwork now. So now I think now the expectation is the next meeting we'll have BW come present this guaranteed maximum price. We continue to have good conversations with local donors who want to be participatory in the project. And then from a DNR perspective, we're nearing a point where we can publicly announce, I feel, some very good success on that front. That's been a pretty arduous process with DNR, but I think we can see the light at the end of the tunnel. So making really good progress on that project, and we're in fact at the point in the project where we're starting to discuss what does a groundbreaking look like for this. So we're getting close. Thanks for asking. Anything else for the good of the cause?
Move we adjourn.
Motion that we adjourn.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to adjourn the meeting. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Meeting adjourned.
Thank you all for coming on this blustery. You want to come, yeah, grab one?